And welcome back, everyone, here to Live Now from Fox. We want to get you the latest updates coming out of Orlando, Florida, where police say a 28-year-old Dayton Veal shot two officers during a traffic stop. The suspect then carjacked another person and drove off. He then barricaded himself in a room at a nearby hotel and shot at officers who returned fire, killing him early in the morning the next day there. So it's been a very difficult time for the Orlando Police Department there as they continue to deal with this. There are two officers critically injured there. And joining us right now is the Orlando Police Chief, Eric Smith. Thanks so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox during this very difficult situation for your department there. So first off, how are the officers doing at this hour?
Oh, the officers are doing better, getting stronger day by day. It's something that's going to take some time, but they're in good spirits, and we're standing with them.
And this was a situation that so many times when we hear about these shootings that happen, that it's not like how the movies and TV are portrayed. I mean, this happens so fast there, and officers reacting fast as well.
Yes, this is something that happens in a split second. I was actually in a position where we could hear the gunshots going out at one of the substations right nearby, doing something else, and it was you just heard the bratic, firing of all the weapons, of the handgun getting fired over and over real fast, and then of course we all responded to assist our officers, and then the radio calls started coming in, and of course that person carjacked someone else, and a vehicle pursuit ensued. So a lot of things happening very fast in a short period of time.
And what were those moments like for you as the police chief? You got to hear that those are the worst calls that you can hear as a chief there, that your officers are taking fire upon themselves. So what directly goes on in your brain there, in your thinking, as that moment is happening all in real time there?
As a police chief, I'm sure police chiefs and sheriffs go through the same thing I do. That's the one thing that always has kept me up at night, is that an officer getting hurt, getting that phone call. You get notified for so many things that are going on through the night, but just that one phone call that an officer's been hurt or an officer's lost their lives. But then to hear it in that moment, right when you're hearing the gunshots, you actually revert back to being what you are, a police officer, and you get out there, you're running out there to assist, and then you're thinking about what's going on right after that. Hey, some of your officers got hurt.
Yeah, totally. And learning more about that suspect there with a laundry list of violations there, and really no regard for human life at all, willing to shoot officers, carjack another person, and then get in a shootout later there with officers.
Yeah, that's one thing that we really need to work on, as a community, is that some people they get that long list where they're just in and out, in and out, in and out for these violent crimes, and and then we're having to deal with them over and over again. That's just unacceptable. We got to figure out a different way to deal with these people who have no regard for human life, no regard for anybody's safety, and are tearing down our communities. We've got to figure out a way to get them off the street and keep them off the street.
And today we heard from the state attorney there talk a little bit more about the violations there that the suspect was accused of in the past there, and talking about the bond requirements there for that individual. And when we look back at all of that, the state attorney was talking about, don't be mad at how the system played out there with the bond and letting the suspect out there, but be more mad at the individual that caused all of this. What is your take on that?
Oh, I understand that part, but my take is that we need, to look at systematic changes. What gave that person the ability to bond out? There's some charges, of course, of some heinous crimes that, really they need to be kept inside until they get their trial date, let them go in front of a judge and see how it's supposed to work out. But, there's some things that we need to really look at, and that as the criminal justice system as a whole, that we need to really look at changing and being able to keep people who are doing these terrible acts off the street.
And have you and your officers seen a change within the past couple of years to maybe even 5 years with really the disrespect that so many portray to law enforcement across the country, not only in Orlando, but willing to engage with them really more on a very fast front there instead of just speaking with officers during a routine traffic stop or other altercations with officers.
Being somebody who's come from within the department and been at the department for almost 30 years, I've seen a change come where people, are no longer, not everybody, of course, but there's that small element where people aren't respectful. They're not going to listen to you. They're going to want to choose violence instead of, trying to escape or not listen to what the officer's directions or commands are. And a lot of these incidents, if you look at it, if the person followed the commands of the officer, a lot of these things wouldn't have went down the road they went down to. And in this case with us on Friday, this person just did not want to go back to prison. He knew he was wanted. He knew he had a history, but he's going to shoot it out with these officers instead of just going to prison and paying his day in court.
Yeah, so true there. And Chief, for the two officers there, what have you heard about their latest condition, as well as speaking with the family? If you could give us some insight on that.
Actually, even speaking with the family and actually speaking with one of the officers and even the other officers able to communicate a little bit. There's their conditions getting better every day. They're getting stronger, and my hope is that someday soon they'll be able to go home. But the one thing about us in the department, and I want everybody to understand, is as a community and a department, we're going to be there for them no matter how long this road is, and how long it takes for them to get back to where they can go home and one day come back to the department.
Yeah, because that's so true. We talk about the physical repercussions, of course, of a shooting there, but beyond that, you could be repaired physically, but the mental toll is so much more sometimes severe and hard to overcome there. What have you seen in the past there from officers that are involved in shootings, how to overcome the mental state of it as well?
It's a very traumatic event, and the good thing for us is we've got a lot of things in place to assist the officer. I mean, we have our EAP, our assistance program, employee assistance program, but we go further than that. We partner with some of our neighboring colleges, things like that. We have UCF Restore, which was a program that was really set up for the military, for all the PTSD and things like that, which they've actually expanded to us. And so a lot of officers have the opportunity to go and meet with a bunch of different people who have different backgrounds and are all geared towards giving them the help, the mental help and stability that they may require or need. And we go further than that. There's all sorts of different organizations out there we partner with. And if you come to us and say you're having an issue, or we see you're having an issue, we're going to do everything in our power to assist you and help you and get you back to where you need to be.
Yeah, that is amazing there, and we are going to be continuing to pray and think of the two officers there in Orlando. But Chief Eric Smith there with the Orlando Police Department, thank you so much for coming on and giving us some insight here on how they are doing, as well as the rest of the department during this difficult time.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
No problem. You too. Take care.